So a function is something that runs a specific set of code every time you call it. So instead of writing the code out every time, all you have to do is call the function that you've already predefined. So let's start off with how we define a function. So the syntax for defining a function is def and then followed by the function name, and we're going to leave an empty parenthesis because we don't want to pass anything into the function just yet, and then colon to start defining what the function actually does. Just like before, you want to indent it, and because we don't want this function to do anything, we'll just put a pass there and press enter and then enter again. So that's our function defined. So if we do f, we can see that that function is stored in this memory location, and to call the function we add the parenthesis in, so f and parenthesis and press enter, and like we expect, it doesn't do anything. Let's say we want a function that returns something like hello every time we call it. So let's define that. So def, let's call the function greet, and again we don't want to pass it anything, and let's return, and then we want it to return hello. So if we call greet now, you can see that it gives back hello. Now say we want to pass the function something, define another function, and this time we'll call it greet by name, and in the parentheses now we want to pass it a parameter. So let's say we want to pass it the name. In that function we want to return hello, and then I'm just going to put the curly brackets in, and I want to format the string to pass format, and then pass the name in where the curly brackets are. So that function will now return hello and the name. So let's test that out. So greet by name, and let's pass it YouTube as the name. Press enter and we get hello YouTube, and we can change that. So let's say we want to greet something else, so Bob, and you can see we get hello Bob back. But what happens if we don't pass it a name? So let's do greet by and then pass it nothing, and you can see that parameter isn't optional, so you get a message like this. So it's saying it's a missing required argument. So if you want to define a function with an optional parameter, what we can do is again def, and then this time let's call it say hello, and in there, in the parameter, if we by default give it a none, that now makes that argument an optional argument. So let's define this function, and in there, if we do have a name, so if it's none, that will equate to false and it won't run this bit of the code. So if we do have a name, we want to return the name like before, and you can see I've put a dot title there. So all that does is basically formats the name so that the first letter is capitalized. So if you press enter here, and if it doesn't have a name, we want to just return hello instead. Let's press that and let's give that a go. So let's say hello, and we don't want to pass it any parameters, and it should just give back hello. And now if we give back say hello and a name, so YouTube, and you can see it's given back YouTube, and it's also capitalized the first letter of the name. So we can also define functions that take multiple parameters, and the way you do that is so def, and then in this function let's say we're going to add two numbers together. So we want a and then b, and then in there we want to return the sum of a and b, so a plus b, and let's give that a go. So add 2 and 3, that should give you 5, and there we go. And that's your quick intro to functions, and as always, if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time with some lists.